bitch. I said what I said. I'd rather be famous instead.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. I said what I said. Today I have a special guest, my apprentice, River. Welcome to the channel. River, how you feeling today?
Feeling good.
Yeah?
Well,
You nervous?
but it's good.
You scared?
Yeah, a little bit. But it's okay. I'm just gonna embarrass the fuck out of myself, but that's okay.
You do that every day, don't worry.
Fucking hate me.
Well, I brought you on my channel today because, one, you're one of the most important babes in my life, and I love you so much.
That's okay. But I love you too.
But also, I just kind of want to, dabble into your story a little bit and our experience together. You've been my apprentice for, what, a year?
It's about
little
to hit
over
a year. Well, it's gonna hit a year in February.
It is February.
Oh fuck! It's like the end of February, I think, was when we started.
Yeah, I think so.
It's about to hit a year.
Yeah. How's this year been going for you? What are some changes? What are some things that you've experienced?
I mean, being an apprentice is a whole ass fucking change. Yeah, I mean, it's been really nice, different. It's weird being your own like boss in a way.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely been a change, and like managing your own money and like you're not living on a paycheck that comes every 2 weeks and stuff. So I definitely think that's been like a drastic change, but also it's been like really nice. It's like, It's not a bad change. Definitely kind of like a shock at first, which was really shocking, as you would say.
How was that adjustment period for you?
I think now it's a lot smoother than it was before. I think before, when you're just starting the apprenticeship and you're also juggling your other job and stuff. So like, making sure you don't get burnout or overworking yourself, and then also having to show up 100% at the apprenticeship and your other job too. Yeah. But once I was able, I think it was in August where I was able to officially quit my old job, stuff started rolling more smoothly. I got more of a set schedule and stuff. We sat down. I think if you were like, fuck it, good luck, then I would have been crying in the corner, just fucking shaking back and forth. But yeah, a lot smoother than I was expecting. There's that anxiety and worry at first, but just kind of trust the process. And
anxiety and worry for what?
I mean, not to fuck up, I think also making sure you have money for bills, making sure that I'm doing good, I'm showing up, I'm taking your critique in mind and stuff. And it was really helpful that you were able to guide me and stuff. You weren't you actually set a path for me, which was really good, and just that good communication. But yeah, it felt like you're starting a new job, you don't want to upset the boss, upset the shop, making sure that you get along with everyone, understanding the technique, hoping that you're catching it quicker than usual and stuff and everything. So I think that definitely was kind of
yeah,
but it worked out. So
yeah.
I'm happy where I'm at.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Do you think that becoming an apprentice has really shifted your personal life? Do you think that, what has the impact of becoming an apprentice been like for you?
Definitely, I made it my number one priority. I think, as an apprentice, you technically still don't, you're an artist, but you still, it's going to school in a way. And in a way you're trying to get good grades or whatever. But I definitely put my apprenticeship above everything else and stuff. I definitely know that, I cut back on socializing, cut back on spending and stuff. It was hard at first, being oh wow, this is my whole life right now.
Yeah.
But I think it's just because it was something I've always wanted to do. It was a little easier to be oh, it's okay. The people that want to stay around my life, that my friendships, they'll get it as long as they know that this is something I've dreamed of doing. And
right.
Luckily the friends in my life that I have and stuff, they were no, go for it. We get it. You're not gonna be available 24/7. You're focusing on your career, on your life and stuff like that. So it was very nice to have those people back me up and not question it and understand that I'm not being asocial because I'm ignoring them, but because I'm working and making sure that I set myself in the right path. Yeah.
I think, just from my own perception on your growth over the last year as an apprentice and soon to be transitioning full-time artist, independent.
Crazy.
I feel like you have the version I met you a year ago versus the version you are today is absolutely admirable. I think you've made all the right steps. You've been easy to teach and coach. And as soon as you touched fake skin, I was like, oh, damn, they got it. I don't know why I need to teach them. But, you know, there's definitely things to learn as becoming a full-time independent artist. You know, I think you caught on to all of those things really well. I think like coming up on your 1-year anniversary, I look back to when we did first meet, and I mean from like the very first interaction, you know, like I think Juno was tattooing you, or they had just finished tattooing you.
Yeah, no, I was getting tattooed by them, and I was like, I saw Chai like post on her story that like she was potentially interested in an apprentice and stuff, and I was like, I don't got the balls to talk to her because I was like, I don't want to bother her time and stuff and everything. And then Juno was like, oh yeah, okay, I'll just meet you up front. Next thing I know, your ass is walking up to me, and you're like, you wanted to talk to me, and I was like, I'm gonna shit myself.
Yeah, Juno had walked back while I was tattooing, and they were like, hey dude, like, is it cool if I have my friend here and they want to be an apprentice? They saw that you posted about like wanting to take on an apprentice. They just want to talk to you. And I was like, well, I'm busy.
No, literally, that was my one concern, and being like, I don't want to bother her. Like, she has her shit going, like she's tattooing someone and stuff. And I was like, I can't make eye contact with her. I'm like, yeah,
in the back of my head, I was like, I am busy, bitch. Like,
yeah, no, exactly. I was like, she's like in the middle of her work day and everything, and Juno's like, no, it's fine. Yeah, I was like,
it was fine. I mean, I took the time, you know. I took the time. Did. My client was all right with it, so I was like, fuck it, I'll go. Yeah. I'll go see. I'm curious. And then I met you, and I was like, damn, you're like 6'7", dog. I'm a midget next to you.
Just towering over you.
Yeah. And then I just remember like sitting down with you and just being like, so what do you want from me?
No, literally. You were like, so what are you looking for? What style? Like, do you like my style? And I was like, yes, I do. Yeah. Like, I do. And then you're like, okay, we'll just start showing up at the shop. And I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what that means. Like, does that mean like I'm just like, what's up? Like, and then we started like DMing back and forth and stuff. And I asked you like what you want to see. Like, you gave me like random prompts and everything.
Yep.
I think my favorite part is when I claimed this design from you, and I come in to like get tattooed by you. This is also before you were like even like, oh yeah, I'll take an apprentice. I sit down, and the first thing you go is you're like, what are your morals? And I was like, this is a fucking interview? I was like, holy shit. Like, you're asking like deep ass fucking topics. And I was like, I wish I would have gotten like, I don't know, like a screening done or something like that. But yeah, no. And I was like, I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry.
Yeah. I did utilize that time to my advantage for sure.
You really did.
Yeah. I think, I just wanted to know, you know, like I find it very important to understand the people that you're inviting into your life, you know? So it was important for me to, well, especially because like apprentice to mentor relationship is just like such a sacred thing in our industry. Yeah. It was my first time going through that too, you know, and I was transparent about that from the beginning. Yeah. Like, you know, I need to know who the fuck you are before I give you my time, you know? And I think from the get-go, like I felt that you understood and respected that. And so when you came in to get tattooed by me, it was after you had already brought me coffee, which food and coffee is just like the key to my heart. So I take it. But yeah, I remember just being like, all right, you know what? Like, I'm just really going to utilize this time and just like ask fully deep hearted questions, you know, and like, you know, I just needed to understand who you were and where you were coming from and why you wanted to pick me of all the artists. You know, Sacramento is very wealthy in tattoo artists. And so, you know, I was very curious as to like why I was the chosen one.
Oh yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, I think also like from like the get-go again, you were like, you know, my time, my life. You're very specific with who you let entering your life, and I was like, fucking same. And so like I think that was really nice, like seeing that vulnerable side of you, and I was like, okay, she isn't just like, you know, just like, you know, the typical kind of artist, just like cut through it, like and
resting bitch face full time.
No, exactly. I was like, oh, she has like a cool personality, and like she has emotions. Like, so this is dope. So definitely like when I sat down and everything and you started asking questions, and I was like, okay, this isn't like we're not fucking around. Like it felt more real, and it felt like you also valued my time and like my life and everything.
I when I set out the intention to become a mentor of any kind, I 100% was like, I will not take on an apprenticeship or an apprentice that I'm not prepared for mentally or emotionally, you know. And I needed that person to fall into alignment with my principles and my values, you know, because there's been moments in our experience where we've had to sit down and
Yeah.
and talk about some stuff.
Yeah,
You know, and I think
definitely.
that's one of those things about like where you were a year ago versus where you are today. You
Yeah.
know, I think that like your self-discipline and your personal growth has just been exceptional because I've never had to talk to you twice about the same thing. You know, and I appreciate that because I feel like that's important to be able to just receive information
Yeah.
and just accept it, you know,
Yeah.
and vice versa, you know, like whenever you have anything to say, like I'm always willing to listen to you too,
Yeah.
you know.
Definitely.
I think that's the great thing about like mentor and uh apprentice relationships is that like, you know, especially because it's my first time, like that constructive criticism and that feedback, you know, is important, and I wanted to make sure that like when I took you on, I was going to be able to have the capacity to have transparent communication with you and vice versa. Do you think that do you think I was a little deceiving in the beginning? Cuz from my point of view, I'm like, man, I feel like I came off so tough and rigid, and then I ended up
I mean, you were like tough and rigid, which I did appreciate. Like, you know, you have to be like you're protecting yourself, your like business, like your name and everything. Like, what I put out and what I do reflects off of you as well. So I wasn't surprised by that, but after like getting to know you and shit, I was like, oh, we're very alike. Like just very rude, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But like it's not. It's just us like protecting ourselves in a way.
yeah.
And so like at first I was like, okay, like this is gonna be strict and like it's gonna be like, but later on like you relaxed more and like you started showing like the more like playful Chai and the more like your
Teddy bear.
personality. Yeah, yeah. I'm like, you are tough. Like you will say what you need to say. I said what I said. When you need to. But like at the same time, you have like so much love and care. And I think that was also something where I was like, oh, you care about me. Like, you know, like it was scary at first, but definitely like I wouldn't say deceiving.
Yeah.
I think you were just putting up a wall which you needed to. And I understand 100%
Yeah.
because
Well, because from my point
Yeah.
of view, I was like, man, like I'm gonna give this person my time, my effort, my
Yeah.
energy, and then I don't know if they're gonna bounce on me in 2 months. Like I
Yeah.
don't know if they're gonna last 2 weeks. You know,
it's
so
scary.
It is
Yeah.
scary.
No, 'cause the same with me though. I was like, oh shit, she's just gonna like in a week be like, no. I was like, okay, like, you know.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, we set that out like straight and forward, and I was like, okay, we're gonna go one day at a time.
Yeah.
And like, also like all the hot conversations we've had, I'm like, I'm happy we had them because it'd be really weird if like it was only smooth sailing 24/7. Because we're like, this is no,
Yeah.
like this doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I think it worked out and I'm happy it did. I was anxious, like especially like sometimes like you send me a text and I'm like, is she mad at me? And I was like, oh no, this is just like an educational moment.
Now I just leave
Like-
you on red.
No, you do. I'm like, I have to fucking be like, can you look at your phone? I'm about to text you tonight. Like,
No.
now I'm like, oh,
Do not
maybe,
disturb.
like maybe one day she'll respond. Like that's fine.
Yeah, it's on Tuesday when I see you.
Yep. I'm like, did you like the flash? And you're like, oh, you sent me something.
Uh-huh,
I was
yeah.
like, okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
when I
fine.
say I have boundaries, man, I really have firm boundaries.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't contact me on Saturday, Sunday, or Monday.
Oh yeah, or it'll be, I miss you so much.
I'm so
coming
gay
from
for
you. Yeah, I'm like, there's no in between. There's just
Yeah.
one to the other. I was like, I'll take it.
That's
I
so
get it.
true. That is so true. Oh,
I'm not
man.
complaining. I'm happy about it.
So, just, you know, out of curiosity, what drew your interest into Les tattoos from like the get-go? Like, I've always been
Yeah.
curious because I think was it Juno?
No, actually, I did. You guys had like a whole art
We had
thing.
our Pride event.
Yeah, and I dropped up some art.
That's right.
We had a Pride event and everything, and then I was following you for quite a like since you guys opened the shop, I was following you guys, and then you know I went to other shops trying to find like an apprenticeship and everything, but I was like, I'm too gay and too trans for this. So I'm like, I can't. I'm like, this doesn't add up. But then I started coming to the shop. I got tattooed by Madi as well a few times and everything. And I showed up to a few of you guys' like Pride events or like random events that you guys were having, like vendors or anything coming around
Yeah.
and stuff. And I was like, wow, this is fucking sick. And then I'd always like see you and I was like, don't got the balls to say hi. I'm like, she doesn't know who I am. It doesn't matter. So definitely like all those random events and then seeing like also the atmosphere you guys keep and like Les and everything. Like you come in and it's like queer as fuck, gay as fuck. I also like 2018 was also when I came out And so like right after that in 2019 you guys opened,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, oh, there is a queer space and stuff. You know,
Mhm.
I was still trying to find my identity and everything, and I was like, oh, it'd be cool to like work in a shop like this one day. And so I just kept that like, you know, in the back of my mind and be like, oh, it'd be so cool. Sort of kind of manifested this shit. And so I was like holding on to the back of about that, and then I started seeing you post more, and then all your tattoos and everything, and I was like, God, I want her to be my mentor. And so I think, yeah, that was mainly like that first event where I like dropped off my art was
Mhm.
where I really like I walked around and I saw everything, and I was like, dude, they do such fucking cool shit here. I'm like, this is so cool. And so I think that definitely like sparked it. And then ever since I saw your fucking story, I was like, I need it. I want this. I was like, but I'm too scared.
So what was your experience like prior to coming into Les, like going into other studios and, you know, I assume you were seeking mentorship.
Yeah.
So what were
Yeah.
those experience like for you, especially coming from queer, trans, non-binary background and
Yeah.
identity? Like,
I think definitely, you know, I didn't have the most like accepting growing up type thing. So a lot of times I'd like visit these shops. Like there are a lot of conservative shops, which I learned about, and I was like, okay, cool. And then, you know, that was even before I started tea and everything, and was like debating on like, you know, top surgery and everything like that. And I was like, every single time I came into different shops, I was like, I will be hate crimed here. I'm like, I might be called a slur and stuff. And it felt like I knew I wouldn't be able to express myself in a way that I'd want to. And I'd just be back in like being a little kid again, like just like walking on eggshells and stuff. And so
just experiencing that like inner child trauma all over
yeah,
again.
exactly.
Yeah, right.
And like that was one thing, you know, usually I would have just been like, fuck it, let's just do it, accept it and everything. But apparently my brain decided to like be smart for once. And I was like, no, you know, it's not worth it. Because if I'm not going to be in a safe space or feel like I can be myself, how the hell am I going to show up and do art and like actually be able to be like 100% there and like mentally prepared and everything. So a few of the shops that I like showed up to, you know, like tattoo industry, it's mainly dominated by cis white men and stuff, and like just like the macho hymns and everything.
Yeah.
And so every single time I'd visit shops, I was like, no, this isn't it. I'm like, I'm scared.
Yeah.
And like, you know, also I feel like the style I do, they wouldn't be really accepted in your traditional shop and everything, because like I love traditional, but that's not what I want to do. So I know like I need to find a place that would be open to different styles and is more okay with tattoo artists trying different things, trying different like techniques and everything like that. But you know, so I think that's kind of where I was like, nope, where's the gays?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
where do I find gays?
Well, I think like, you know, I love that that's kind of a part of your story, because when we first opened Les, like the intention truly was for it to just be Maudie and myself. You know, like our friendship was so great at the time that like we looked into that and we were like, wow, dude, like we could really do something with this. And so, you know, we felt so safe in conversation with one another and our life experiences and the things we had in common and how we wanted to kind of like navigate our careers and stuff, that we were just like, fuck it, let's open up a business where just like we feel safe and our clients feel safe, you know? And it really started there. And then, dude, as soon as we opened, like people heard that it was a queer owned studio, and we were in a room the size of this room, you know, just touching butts while we were tattooing. And then all of a sudden the demand for a space like this just grew so rapidly and like so quickly that like we had no idea what we were doing. We just knew that the community needed this, and we were willing to just take the fucking chances.
You guys grew crazy fast.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it was nuts. And it all happened, you know, during COVID. And that was absolutely insane. Like, not only did it happen in COVID, but like it happened in COVID. And then we moved locations during COVID. Like, I don't know why we decided to do that. It was like the craziest shit we had ever done. But, you know, it turned out really well. And now we have a full studio full of wonderful queer human beings. And, you know, it's honestly an honor to have been selected as the person to kind of just build an environment like this, you know? And I see it as such a privilege to just kind of like be a mentor to every one of you, because queer folks all deserve safe spaces, you know?
Absolutely.
But yeah, with that being said, we're going to take a quick break. I got to, you know, recharge my batteries real quick. So we'll be back. See you soon.
Cause bitch, I said what I said. I'd rather be famous instead.
All right, guys, batteries are all charged, so let's jump right back in with my homie River.
I'm back.
Round 2.
Let's go.
So earlier we had touched base on, you know, trans, queerness, inclusivity, things like that. I want to dive a little bit deeper in terms of your personal experience as, one, an apprentice, but also two, just going through your transition, because that happened sort of in the middle of your apprenticeship.
Yeah, it really did.
Big changes for an apprentice and for someone who is transitioning, changing career paths, you know, finding independency.
Yeah, I really said fuck it all at once.
You really
Let's
did.
do it.
You went balls to the walls, dude.
I know. I was like, one good thing, let's do it again. Yeah, no. Shit. I think definitely, like, you know, with my transition and stuff, it took a while for me to feel like confident in going into it. Growing up, conservative background, Ukrainian conservative parents and everything. So, you know, being queer was not it. And so I did run away from them in 2018. And so after that, I was like, well, shit, now I really need to figure out who I am. And, you know, I think I took a break on that just because, like, you know, I was living in a shelter, blah, blah, blah. And then once I got into the shop, I was like, I feel like this would be the safest place to start doing this. I was like, fuck it. And so, at first, I was like, nah, there's no way I'm trans. I'm like, nah, that's not for me. I love it for other people, but it's not me, no.
Kept denying yourself.
Yeah, I definitely, like, had some internalized, like, battles I was fighting and everything. And so I started, you know, going to therapists and stuff, finding an actual therapist that understood, like, being trans in the queer community was kind of hard. And so I didn't really have, like, an actual therapist I could talk to. And I was struggling with, like, a lot of mental health stuff. So I decided to work on the mental health stuff, get, like, you know, medicated, Lexapro. And so I started that. And once I started, like, slowly meeting people, I was like, okay, let's, like, dive into the idea of, like, trans. And I was like, I don't want to be a he, him, though. So I'm like, that never sounded like he, him, his, you know, that's not really, didn't really feel like me.
Well, and I think when you came into the studio, you were just very androgynous.
Yeah.
To begin with.
Yeah, I was trying to, you know, androgyny and stuff. I was trying to, like, play with that. And then I was like, okay, non-binary, that's a thing. And, like, they, them. And so, like, I played around with that for a minute. At first I went by, like, she, they. And then I was like, they, them. Okay, that fits. And so I didn't know what non-binary was after, like, I ran away and stuff. I had, like, a very, like, lesbian, gay. Yeah. That was all you could be. Like, that's all I knew what it was. And then, you know, I met more people that were non-binary and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's the thing? I'm like, you can do that? And so I started playing around with that. And then I was like, you know, something still doesn't feel right. I used to have big ass titties. And then I was like, fuck it. Let's do, like, a breast reduction. I know, they were fucking melons. And so I was like, fuck it, breast reduction. Maybe that's why. And so I did that and stuff. And at first I was like, okay, maybe I am girly pop. And then I went through a phase. And then I was like, nah, this isn't it. And so then I started talking to, like, a random doctor, and I was like, what's it look like? How do I get tea? I was like, let's try it. And then one of my closest friends has been on tea, I think, for, like, a few years now. And they're like, just do it. They're like, if anything, like, you started out, you're not liking how you're feeling with your body, you can stop it and stuff. And so I was like, okay, cool. And then I didn't know doses were an option, like, different doses and everything. And so I spoke to my doctor about that, and she was like, you know, you could do half a dose if you want. You don't have to do, like, the full dose and everything. And so I've been on half a dose since August. And then a week ago, I chopped my titties off. And it's been really nice.
Yeah, congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been, like, it's weird. I still have, like, you know, ghost titties where I think that they're there. Or whatever they call it, like some ghost syndrome. I don't know. And so definitely, like, that. It's helped a lot. So I'm excited to hit, like, a year on tea to see where I'm gonna be there, like, then, like, what that's gonna look like and stuff. I'm like, I don't know if I'm actually gonna start, like, growing a fucking beard or anything. Who knows? So far my balls are just dropping, you know, like, voice cracks, shit like that. But I think I'm slowly becoming more, like, you know, comfortable with my body slowly and everything. I'm still gonna do, like, body contouring just to get rid of, like, love handles and stuff. Just because I want to be, like, straight like a box, you know, like a rectangle. Just...
like a rectangle.
Yeah. But, yeah, definitely it's been fun getting to like figure that out. And like, you know, with gender comes like sexuality and everything like that. So I've been also diving into that and figuring out what that is for me as like a trans non-binary individual. And so I'm like, there's just a lot of changes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
A lot of really getting to know yourself.
Yeah,
and,
identity.
You know, yeah, exactly. I was
Yeah.
gonna say embracing your identity instead of shaming it.
Yeah.
I think that's really valuable. I think, you know, like I'm huge on self-development, self-growth, and, you know, self-love, like all of those things. Like I think that the more you can embrace yourself, the more that you can empower yourself to do whatever you want in your life, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I've had friends that, you know, I've sat down and had conversations with and had to tell them, like, I know the challenges that you face are hard, but at the end of the day, the more you deny yourself, the more you're going to live a life you don't want to.
Exactly.
You know? And that's just unfair. Nobody should have to live that way, like, at all.
Yeah. And I think that's also why, like, when I started my apprenticeship and stuff, like, that was already a new whole chapter and stuff. And that's a whole different identity of, like, career and stuff. And, like, taking the identity as an artist and, like, really just being, like, trust the process. Because, you know, it's hard to fucking survive as an artist and stuff.
Yeah.
And
it's
then,
also hard to survive as a trans person.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. And so then I was like, okay, this is perfect. Like, I'm already dealing with that identity and trying to figure that out. But if I'm not going to be able to present myself how I want to, I'm not going to be, like, mentally there when I'm working with people or being present with clients, because I'm just going to feel, like, dysphoric the whole time.
Exactly.
And so that's another thing too, like branding and stuff, like making sure that, like, I want my clients to know that, like, they have a safe space to be trans and non-binary and queer and everything like that. So, like, I definitely had a few times too where, like, I was sitting with clients and stuff, and, like, they're like, oh, can I ask, are you, like, on T and stuff? And then, like, getting to open that whole conversation about their gender identity and stuff. And I think one of the things that, like, made me so happy is recently a client of mine, like, messaged me, and they're like, you made me feel confident to ask my doctor to get top surgery. And I was like, I'm gonna fucking cry right now.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I think, like, this is one of those areas in the industry where, you know, so many people just, like, misinterpret us as just, like, people who just do cool tattoos and, like, we live this, like, rad life. And I mean, don't get me wrong, like, we do both of those things, but also like there's such a human interaction between the people we work with, you know.
Absolutely,
like they give us a lot of trust, they speak their truths, you know, they don't deny themselves when they're in our chairs. And I think it's really interesting how much of a mentor you do become to not just the people in your environment, but the people you actually work with.
Absolutely.
You know, I guess that brings me to my next question of, like, do you plan to kind of just, like, guide people at some point? Like, do you ever want to work, like, closely with, like, queer youth and, you know, any, like, what do you see for yourself in the future?
I mean, honestly, like, I've been trying to, you know, thinking about that. That's the whole thing. Like, also, what do I want to do in 5 years? And I think right now I'm just trying to, you know, I went through, like, the shelter it was through the LGBT center and stuff, and, like, getting to meet a lot of people and stuff. I did try, like, doing social work in a way, and I was, like, a counselor at this, like, crisis residential program and stuff, but that was a little too intense for me.
Yeah.
So, like, now I'm like, maybe one day I would, like, I don't know, like, work with some queer youth and stuff, like, go to, like, definitely go back to, like, different shelters that I used to live in, or work with people that, like, have had on housing and they want to do art and stuff like that, and, like, exposing people to being, like, a trans queer artist and everything. I haven't really dived deep into that too much yet, because I'm like,
that's okay.
I don't know where I'm at right now, like, what my next steps are.
I feel like you're in the prime of your, like, there's a huge demand for you to be present in your life at this moment, you know? So thinking 5 years, 10 years, even 3 years could probably be a little challenging, you know? Like,
I'm like, I'm still debating. I know I definitely want to, like, give back to the community and stuff, like, especially, like, I've it's fucking tough. Like, especially if you work with, like, lived with really intense backgrounds and trauma and everything. So it would be nice to, I don't know, maybe do, like, I get together with people, like, I don't maybe one day I'll just do, like, art nights with people, just start small and everything.
The impact can come from just the person being in the chair for now, you
definitely
know? Like, I think it's very powerful that someone feels comfortable enough to be like, hey, you gave me the confidence to reach out to my doctor.
Yeah.
You know, like even that, it might feel small, but it's a huge step forward for that person, you know?
Definitely.
So yeah, I think that's why I love Les so much. You know, like Les just gives a space for people who don't usually feel justified outside of the doors.
Definitely.
You know?
It's really fucking cool. Like sometimes like you never know who's gonna be in your fucking chair. And it's really weird because like a lot of the people that like I've noticed there's like a pattern with the clientele that I get as that it's like a lot of like trans folks, and I'm like, this is fucking sick. I don't know what I'm doing, but they're all coming here.
You're being you. And that, like, by naturally being yourself and embracing who you are, other people are watching that and feeling empowered to come to you because they're in alignment with that, you know?
Yeah.
And I love that. Like, I think that's something for me as your mentor, that is something I did want to try to teach you, was that, like, you want to call in the clients who naturally align with who you are, you know, because that's like, that's the best thing you can have, is to just sit down, start tattooing, and just engage in really awesome conversation that you actually want to be a part of, you know?
Absolutely.
So I'm glad that your clientele is like that. I'm glad that it serves you while you serve them. Because not only is it what it is right now, but that's going to transition into something way better and bigger for you later, you know, because it's part of your brand. It's part of who you are, which means it's part of your brand, you know? So at the end of the day, you truly are just like right on the path you need to be on, you know? I mean, you've really changed over this last year, and I see that you're excited. I see that you're happy. I see that you're starting to dream about the next thing. That's a fucking you know
that's weird. I'm like, I want a future. What?
Yeah, it's important, you know. Yeah, I think like I'm excited for you. I'm excited to see where all of this ends up taking you, you know, and I'm very proud to be a part of your journey and just to like watch you take all these little baby steps.
I'm not gonna cry.
Are you gonna cry right now?
I can't prove it.
I'll cry with you. But yeah, you know, I do appreciate you for being vulnerable in this conversation and just like sharing some of your truths. You know, part of the reason why I wanted to make this channel, to create this podcast and bring on the guests that I'm bringing, is because I think it's important that queer voices be heard. You know, I think that we get to take up space just as much as anybody else does.
Absolutely.
And, you know, because Les houses many different queer folks, I think having other artists have someone to look up to who are like them makes the world feel a little bit more safe for them, you know? So definitely. I appreciate you being vulnerable and just being very straightforward about your experience as a trans non-binary person, you know, because I know that exposure can sometimes feel scary.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, you know, coming out period was fucking scary, but I think now definitely like being in Les and like having chosen family, like your family, and you ain't going away. Like if you try, I will fucking find you. But like, you know, having chosen family and knowing that you're gonna be like backed up no matter what, and like they'll let you know if you're doing something fucking stupid, or like they'll cheer you on in the background. That's definitely just been such, like, I don't know, like I've cried about it before. Okay, I'm not gonna do it again, but like you know, it feels nice. Like it feels less alone. So if it weren't for that, I doubt like I would have started transitioning or anything, or like it would have taken me so much more longer to feel like slowly deciding to become more comfortable with my body or my gender and stuff, or even stepping in as an artist. Like I wouldn't have been able to do any of that without you. Like, yeah, it would have happened later on, but it wouldn't have been that soon. Like I really doubt it would have been that soon. Like, yeah, no.
I mean, I can't speak on your behalf, but I do think that you would have ended up here no matter what, you know. So. I think your character, the person that you are, that's who you are. You move with your gut, you know, and you make things happen for you. You know what I mean? Like,
I try.
I think that kind of does come from like that experience with like trauma and having poor backgrounds and stuff like that. Is like, it teaches you to always look out for yourself.
Survival.
Might take you a little longer, but at the end of the day, I think people usually always land right where they're supposed to.
Yeah. You know? It's that fight or flight, and knowing when to fight, knowing when to fucking run for it and stuff. Yeah, no, definitely. I will have to say, I know how to survive, and I'm happy about that. Yeah. So I'm like, thanks, trauma.
Yeah.
Like,
what do you say? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah, you already know. Big boy.
Big boy energy.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man. All right. Well, I think we can go ahead and wrap it up here for today. How you feel about that?
I'm chilling.
All right.
Yeah, it's been
All
good.
right, guys. Well, that is episode 2 with River. I want to say again, thank you so much for joining me on my podcast. I said what I said. If you have anybody you want to come onto my channel, any guests that you're particularly interested, drop it in the comment section. Please hit that subscribe button, like, and follow. Otherwise, see you on episode 3. Peace out.